Hello, friends, and welcome back to the channel. You can see that things are considerably different in terms of the quality because I got a new camera. So, to celebrate, I figured I would start this little. I want to call it off the cuff because that's what I got this idea because of John and Lance doing the Arrow in the Head show. They have this off the cuff section, and I was like, you know what? That's a pretty damn good idea. So I'm gonna do something similar because I'd like to randomly ramble about stuff, and one of the main things that has always I don't know, annoyed me about doing YouTube videos on this channel is the video portion in terms of like the actual camera. It's very just frustrating to do because I used to have a Canon 7D that then it only had a 12-minute record time, had manual focusing. There was just a lot of stuff in it that was just very frustrating. And so I just didn't like using it. And then I switched to using my iPhone because it would have a unlimited record time. But then you don't get any separation of like the background, the foreground, and there's a lot more artifacting than you would expect from an iPhone, or well, maybe you would expect more, but it just ended up being really, really frustrating. And so I've looked into cameras for the last 5 years, and then the Lumix S5 II was announced, and everyone was creaming their pants over it. And I understand why. This thing is absolutely amazing. So, to celebrate, this is going to be episode 1 of what I'm going to call Needlessly Nostalgic. This is kind of similar to my nerd out that I did a little while ago, but there's again no editing on these. It's just going to be very simple, very what this is right now. So I have a few things that I want to talk about, and again, I'm ripping off Arrow in the Head show because it just seemed like a good idea. Let's talk about the Oscars right now. There's been a lot of talk, in particular about Andrea Riseborough. I don't even know how to say her last name. The To Leslie performance, because they're saying that she broke rules, and yeah, I don't know. Everything about that is very weird because the Oscars, if you're not aware, which most people are aware, that it's a advertising thing. You're not going to win an Oscar unless the studio is spending money on your campaign. It's very much bought and paid for, and that's not to say like deserving people are not, deserving. Like Brendan Fraser's performance in The Whale this year, absolutely phenomenal. And likely, was it Fox Searchlight that put it out? I can't remember who. Likely they're not having to spend a ton on advertisement because everyone else is doing the advertising for them. How many articles have you seen about Brendan Fraser over the last few months? Like, it's absolutely insane. However, they're also making sure they're still pushing him, having him do certain videos. They are still marketing like crazy. And so I guess this To Leslie thing is they didn't have the performance, like they didn't have the marketing budget, and then they're essentially being told, like, it's people saying, hey, well, for this is an amazing performance, which I guess is against the rules for some reason. I don't know I assume there's reasoning for it in terms of, making it so certain people can't use their power to, have their friends win, stuff like that. But this is just so silly. And I kept seeing the argument of, oh, no one had even heard of this movie before the nominations. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of Oscar movies like that. But yeah, it's very strange. And I guess this can lead into another thing that I want to talk about, and that's everyone complaining about the Oscars. Like, if I see one more person complain about Mia Goth not getting nominated for Pearl, like, how delusional are you? You thought Mia Goth was going to be nominated? Like, what? What? Toni Collette was not nominated for Hereditary. It's like one of the best performances of the last decade. Like, I don't know. It's very strange to me that this seems to be, and maybe it's because of the Oscars have been starting to embrace superhero movies more. So, and then I guess the horror community is getting upset that they aren't embracing horror as much. But like, Kathy Bates won, like, Jodie Foster won. There's these different performances. Like, horror, when it's good, it gets the praise. And I don't know, like, what was expected. And as someone, like, I shut Pearl off after 25 minutes. I tried 3 different times, and like, I've seen the monologue. Like, I don't I don't think it's Oscar worthy. So I think that's probably the big disconnect for me, is that I just see a lot of people complaining, and I'm like, what are these complaints about? But I should say that I'm not the end all be all of any kind of opinion. That I mean, I am clearly in the wrong on Megan. 100%, I will admit to that. Everyone seems to like it except for me and Lance and John and a select few people in the horror community. Otherwise, people seem to be all about it. But also, that same horror community completely destroyed the Child's Play remake. So I'm like, I just don't care at this point. Like what you like. Like what you like. People liking X or Pearl or Halloween Ends doesn't affect me in any way whatsoever. So, and it's the same stuff with the Oscars. It does not affect me. I will still like the movies that I like. So I think that other people just need to have that mindset of who cares. Award shows are really pointless most of the time anyway. So I think that the biggest thing is that you just need to be supporting these movies and these artists. There's a lot of people that are complaining about the Mia Goth performance not getting nominated, but then they've only pirated like X and Pearl, where it's like, you got to support like these people getting awards. Yeah, it can help, but like, you should probably support the actual movie that they're in the first place. And just like I just recently saw Infinity Pool in theaters and was blown away, absolutely blown away. It is so good. And originally I wasn't going to see it in theaters because they had announced that they were going to wait and the unrated version would only be available streaming. I didn't really want to see a pared down version of the story, and I just wanted to see how Cronenberg originally intended, and so I wasn't going to see it. But then I'm like, well, fuck, I need to support this kind of stuff in cinema. So went and saw it. So glad that I did. I encourage everyone to go see Infinity Pool because it's fucking phenomenal. And to the point, because my boss saw it in Sundance, and so we've discussed the differences, and I think I'm going to end up liking the R-rated version more, because I think that the excesses are just enough, where some of the stuff in the unrated version I'm hearing about where I'm like, a little excessive. Mostly in like, I don't need to see a stunt penis jerking off. Like, just don't need to see that. I see enough of myself jerking off. I don't need to see Skarsgård. So there's a lot of stuff in that film that is phenomenal. And in particular, and that's why I'm talking about it, as all things are, flowing from one thing to another. Mia Goth, phenomenal. This is the first time that I've seen a Mia Goth performance that I've actually enjoyed. Really didn't like her in Suspiria, and I'm just not an X or Pearl fan. So this is finally the first time that I'm like, holy shit, yeah, she's phenomenal. And so, bravo, because I didn't think I would ever enjoy her. But she's great. She was great in it. And I think Brandon Cronenberg in particular has such a cinematic voice that I cannot wait. Cannot wait for his next film. As soon as coming home from seeing Infinity Pool, I immediately put on Possessor. Hadn't seen it before. Also, just so good. Not quite as good as Infinity Pool, but he just has such a voice that I just am looking forward to seeing what he does. next, because I've always enjoyed Cronenberg, but he has what I would say is his pacing is not aligned with my own sensibilities. I often think that things are dragging in Cronenberg as much as I enjoy some of the stories. And so Brandon Cronenberg, something about his pacing, everything just lines up with my own sensibilities. And so I'm on board for anything he's doing. I will be there opening night. And I guess another thing that I should talk about is Knock at the Cabin. Comes out this week. Comes out, I think, technically tomorrow. I'm seeing it on Friday morning. So really looking forward to like just discussing it, because Mike Shyamalan stuff is just insane. I'll probably talk about it on this channel, because I'm not reviewing it for Joe Blow, and so I'm gonna want to talk about this. It just looks so good, and it just looks like it's going to be so unique, and M. Night Shyamalan is just so fucking all over the place. He's so polarizing. Either he does phenomenal movies like Split and Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, and I even like The Village, Signs. But then he does other stuff like The Happening, and oh my God, Old was one of the biggest pieces of shit. And I was looking forward to it so much. I think that's why usually have had such low expectations going into his stuff, so that I end up enjoying it. But Old, the trailer I thought looked great, and it had such a good cast. So I thought it was going to be much, much better than it ended up being. But I'm worried a little bit that it's going to be like that, but I think regardless, it will be a fun film to discuss. So you can expect that to be on this channel soon. Yeah, I'm going to use this more. I know that I'm always so all over the place in this on this channel. I know the last video I had said that I wasn't going to be doing videos very often, but then this camera has changed things. Like I can do stuff where it's just, more on the fly, and it doesn't bug the shit out of me that the video is all over the place. So yeah, expect more of these. What else do I want to talk about? I tried watching Babylon last night, and I think it's just because I'm not a Coke guy. Never done Coke in my life. I don't have any plans to. And that movie is like a cokehead's wet dream. It's essentially just, don't you wish you had the greatest night and you had unlimited cocaine? That's what I got from the first 45 minutes. And so I'll watch it. I'll finish it up eventually. But the 3-hour runtime was very intimidating, because I don't have any desire to sit and watch all the nonsense that was going on for 3 hours. That's not to say the performances are phenomenal. Margot Robbie, Brad Pitt. I didn't even get to see the Tobey Maguire stuff that I heard so much about, but the performances are so good. But it's in just this nonsensical mess of a story. So I don't know when I will watch it before the Oscars. I've actually been pretty good about the keeping up with movies over the last year, and Oscars this year are not nearly as intimidating as they usually are in terms of, oh my God, I gotta watch this, that. I think some of the only stuff that I haven't seen are the Bill Nighy movie. Was it? I can't remember what it's called. Then Babylon, obviously. I know there's something else that I haven't seen. For the most part, I've seen almost every single major Oscar. Oh, The Man Called Otto. Because didn't Tom Hanks get nominated for? I don't know. Either way, my goal is to see all of the at least best picture and potentially best actor and best actresses. So we'll see if it ends up happening. I'm looking forward to the chaos that will end up happening with whoever ends up winning the best actress, because then it's just going to be Twitter bitching about Mia Goth not getting the award. But yeah, I think this is pretty much all. Hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll see you maybe next week. Am I gonna do these every week? I don't. No promises. I'll do them when I want to do them. And there will be people on the channel every now and then. Did I mention that in the beginning? I'll have guests on too. Yeah. We'll see in a bit.